Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let's make it easy. So in this video, we will continue with the story of French Revolution. And today we will going to cover the topic, the outbreak of the revolution. Before we learn this topic, it is very important that you know the background of the story. And we have covered that background in the previous video. So if you have not seen my previous video, so just go and have a look on this video so that you can get you can get the gist of the story. So far we have studied about the structure of French society and structure of French society and the problems faced by the society and the emergence of the middle class. Now, the background of the story was responsible for the outbreak of the revolution. Now, what was happening is, now the treasury is empty and the Louis XVI has planned to increase the tax. Now, who will pay this tax? Obviously, the estate third the tax will be imposed on estate third, and and a section of third estate become prosperous and educated, which will definitely they will they will revolt against it, because the only estate that used to pay taxes was third estate. Now, in the section of the third estate become educated and prosperous, and a new class emerges, a new middle class will be emerged from it. So they will definitely revolt against it. Now, what was happening in France? The old regime, the monarch did not have the power to impose tax according to his will alone. Now, राजा के पास सारे अधिकार थे कि वो अपनी मर्जी से कुछ भी कर सकता है, but when it comes to tax, he has to discuss it in a straight general. He has to discuss it with others, then he can impose the tax. Now, what will happen? See, for increasing tax, he had to call a meeting of an estate general, which would then pass his proposal of new tax. Now, you must be, there must be a confusion that what is estate general. Now, let's look at it. What is estate general actually? Okay. Now, let's move further. Now, the king do not have the right to impose the tax on its own. He has to take the permission from the estate general. Now, as I have already told you that the society was divided into three estates: estate 1, estate 2, and the estate general, estate 3. Now, the estate general was a political body to which three estates and their representatives. Now, from every state, estate 1, estate 2, and estate 3, people used to send their representatives in estate general, where a meeting is being held. And when मीटिंग कब होती थी? जब राजा को क्या करना है, टैक्स इंपोज करना है, तभी मीटिंग होती थी, बिकॉज अकॉर्डिंग टू द ओल्ड रिजाइम व्हिच वाज बीइंग फॉलोड इन फ्रांस, the king could not impose any tax without conducting a meeting. Now, however, the monarch alone could decide when to call a meeting on his body. Now, he cannot decide that he's going to, जब वो पारित नहीं कर सकता कि मैं टैक्स लगा रहा हूँ, उसको मीटिंग बुलानी पड़ेगी. बट मीटिंग कब बुलानी है, ये कौन डिसाइड करेगा? ये वह खुद डिसाइड करेगा. The last time it was done was in 1614. कब हुई थी लास्ट मीटिंग? इट वाज बीइंग कंडक्टेड इन 1614 में हुई थी. मतलब लुई 16 के किसी पूर्वजों ने कभी मीटिंग बुलाई थी. नाउ वी आर अब हम किस बारे बात कर रहे हैं? अब जो बात चल रही है, इट्स अबाउट 1789, right? And the last meeting was held in 1614. मतलब कभी लुई 16 के पूर्वजों ने मीटिंग बुलाई हो, right? Now, the meeting was being conducted on 5 May 1789. Now, the Louis XVI called together an assembly of Estate General to pass the proposal for new tax. Meeting, अब वो meeting कहाँ पे हुई थी? The meeting was held in the hall of Versailles. The first and the second estate sent representatives, 300 representatives each, who were seated facing each other on two sides. And the 600 members of the third estate had to stand at the back. Now listen, now understand this very importantly. Let me draw it. What was happening is, let's say, ignore my drawing. This is an estate general. Estate 1 and estate 2 sat here facing each other. You know, there were 30 members, 30 representative of estate 1, 300 representative of estate 1 and 300 members of estate 2, and the 600 members of estate 3 were, were called to stand at the back and कि अपनी हाइट के अकॉर्डिंग खड़े हो जाओ भैया और देख लो कि क्या चल रहा है और क्या नहीं चल रहा. This is how there was इस तरीके से estate general की मीटिंग कंडक्ट की जाती थी. 300 members from estate 1, 300 members from estate 2 and 600 members from estate 3. Okay, now just give me a second. Yes. So the third estate was represented by its prosperous and educated women. Now, who has represented the estate third? The prosperous and the educated among the estate third. We have already started the section from estate third become prosperous and educated, and they were only allowed to represent the estate third. How and peasants, artisans and women were denied to enter the assembly. भाई उनको बोला गया कि तुम बाहर हो अंदर भाई मीटिंग चल रही है. They were not allowed to enter the assembly. However, their grievances, सबको होता है ना कि मीटिंग हेल्ड हो रही है, बातचीत की जा रही है, हमारे दुख दर्द बताए जा रहे हैं, तो हम वहां पे जरूर हम अपने grievances रखें. तो their grievances and demand were listed in some 40,000 letters which representatives have brought with them. Now the educated and prosperous people, the middle class who has represented estate thirds, has taken their letters with them in the assembly. Now, how the voting was being conducted in the past? According to that principle that each estate has one vote. Now the third estate, for the first estate is represented by 300 people. The estate 2 is represented by 300 people, and the estate third is represented by 600 people. Now the estate 1 will have one vote, estate 2 will have one vote, and estate 3 have one vote. They used to have one vote being counted from each estate. Now this time, Louis XVI has determined to continue the same practice. Now he thought, जो चलता आ रहा है, जो पूर्वजों ने चला रहे हैं, the same pattern is being followed now. He thought of following the same pattern, but what happened? That the members of the third estate demanded that voting now should be conducted by the assembly as a whole. Each member could have one vote, and now they have demanded that the practice ki ek estate ka ek vote should not be counted by every individual should have one vote, because the population was more, though at least they should have their vote should be more, right? कि उनका एक vote count होता तो उनको दो होना चाहिए. They demanded like that कि each individual का एक vote count होना चाहिए. What was the outcome of it? That the king has rejected this proposal. Now the king has rejected. The middle class जो थी वो तो prosperous थी, they were educated. When they are educated, they will be answering they will be revolting, they will be answering, they will be questioning the monarchs. The same had happened. The members of third estate walked out of the assembly in protest. Now they moved out of the assembly to do a revolt. They have protested, they have questioned the monarch. So, okay, now this is, I guess, all enough for today. We will be learning about the further story in the next video. I hope everything is clear to you. See, we are learning this chapter. We are doing it in a story form. It's very interesting, to come to know about the background, the story is being continued. And further also in the videos, we will be continuing with the story. It's a very interesting chapter. I hope you all are enjoying it. Thank you so much. See you in the very next video.